Number 10. Gary Bond. Gary L. Bond, a 32-year-old carpenter from Haverhill, Massachusetts, near Boston, won $1 million when he bought a state lottery scratch ticket. That's a pretty good chunk of change when you want to set yourself up for life. But instead of starting his own carpentry business, Gary ended up getting arrested because he put his entrepreneurial skills to criminal use. He intended living off the government and trying his hand on a little sideline with a marijuana growing operation and 21 grams of coke. Was that for personal use or for distribution? Who knows? But maybe Gary should have taken a hint from his last name and invested in stocks and bonds instead. Number 9. Leroy Fick. Bay County, Michigan lottery winner Leroy Fick isn't necessarily stupid or dumb, but he certainly is selfish and self-centered. But some people could say that continuing to receive government aid, like food stamps and a bridge card, which allows you discounts in stores when you're needy, certainly qualifies as stupid. Mr. Fick was considered poor before he won $2 million on the TV game show Make Me Rich. And even though he had to pay more than half his winnings in taxes, he did afford to buy himself a property and a decent, albeit used luxury car, so he couldn't be considered needy after the game show win. Yet, because of a loophole in laws, he kept milking the system for all it was worth. Yeah, not exactly smart when thinking about the 805,000 children who need food assistance programs in the state of Michigan. Thanks, Leroy. Number 8. Timothy Elliott. In the case of Timothy Elliott, you have to wonder who the dumb one really is in this story. Elliott bought scratch-off lottery tickets with money he stole and for which he was convicted of robbing banks, and he bought them while he was on probation. Plus, his probation stipulated clearly that he wasn't allowed to gamble, purchase lottery tickets, or visit an establishment where gaming is conducted. Yet the judge said his violation wasn't serious enough to warrant jail time. Now that's fine, there are way too many people in prison for offenses that aren't dangerous, but he'll be receiving his winnings in 20 yearly checks of $50,000, $35,000 after taxes. Mr. Elliott's lawyer asked who would have any legal right to deny him his money. Well, maybe his lawyer, in legal fees. But let's give poor Mr. Elliott a break. Apparently, he's living with a schizoaffective disorder under supervision of the Department of Mental Health. Number 7. Arnhem Ramdas. In 2007, when Arnhem Ramdas won a shared lottery jackpot of $19 million with his fellow airline mechanic co-workers, he decided not to share the information with his wife. Instead, he just left. Well, after his wife confronted him with a postcard he'd received congratulating him on the purchase of a new home, that is. Anyway, this generous guy left with his share of the winnings, about $500,000 after taxes, and now his stay-at-home ex-beauty queen wife's lawyer can't even find him to serve him with papers. In this case, I guess he's not dumb per se, he's just greedy and selfish, and apparently invisible. Number 6. Dolores McNamara. When Dolores McNamara, an Irish cleaning lady, won the 77 million Euro Millions jackpot, her life could have taken a change for the better, but instead, it made her crazy. And all the bad stuff in her family's past, stuff like ties to criminal bosses and strange events that her son got involved in, started creeping up and becoming tabloid fodder. People said she should have kept her mouth shut about winning, and that's what was so stupid. But how exactly do you do that when everybody wants to know who won an amount that huge? Poor Dolores became so paranoid, she started living in a secluded house with security cameras everywhere. Exactly the kind of life you don't want when you win a fortune, right? Number 5. 34-year-old unnamed South Korean. Dolores McNamara probably would have loved to have won her jackpot in South Korea, where this young winner managed to stay anonymous. Unfortunately, his John Doe status didn't make him any smarter, because when he won the 1.7 billion won, the equivalent of 1.6 million US dollars, he squandered his money frivolously and quickly ended up broke. That's when he became a professional smartphone and designer clothes thief. Although he was prosecuted in December 2012 and said that he should never have won the lottery and regretted the win, he nevertheless had 10 lottery tickets on him when he was arrested. Sad, sad story, when people that could have been smart just kept repeating the same mistakes. Number 4. Haley Tari. Haley Tari's lottery win story could have been so fun and cute. She bought a lottery ticket in 2006 when on a Friday the 13th, she saw a money spider run across her hand. I guess it worked, because she won over £500,000 English pounds. Problem is, she just spent the money lavishly on gifts for friends and family, but also smartly bought property and repaid debts. Except after that, she cheated taxpayers out of £10,000 in job seekers allowance and council tax benefits she wasn't eligible for. Again, proof that winning a big amount of money doesn't make you smarter, unfortunately. Tari was sentenced in June 2012 and went to prison. Number 3. John McGinnis. Can you imagine going from winning 10 million British pounds, the equivalent of almost 13 million US dollars, to being 2 million pounds in debt? Well, that's what happened to British hospital worker John McGuinness, who certainly demonstrated that he wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. This guy burned through money faster than wildfires sweep through acres of forest. 1.5 million pounds in gifts to his parents and sister? Very nice, but a bit over the top maybe. $500,000 on a fleet of cars, 200,000 pounds on a wedding, 750,000 on gifts to his ex-wife. 4 million on the Liverpool Football Club? Yep, and that's not even the half of it. That's what happens when you check your brains at the door. Number 2. Freddie Young. Michigan native Freddie Young had it made when he became a millionaire after a lottery win in February of 2011. But 4 months later, a judge froze his fortune when he became a murder suspect. In June of that year, he was charged with first-degree premeditated murder in the shooting death of his daughter's landlord. Maybe he should have bought her a house instead. Anyway, Young will not be fitting his last name when he gets out of prison in 25 to 30 years. Number 1. Patty Bigby. Now answer me this question. How does a woman go from winning $1 million in the lottery to getting arrested for trying to sell her grandson for $75,000 because she's desperate for money 2 years later? Well, that's Patty Bigby's story. This dumb lottery winner tried to sell her grandson to her estranged daughter of all people, whom she'd given up for adoption in 1983. The daughter contacted the police and the authorities decided to put the squeeze on Bigby, having her daughter call back and negotiate a $30,000 sticker price on the kid. When Bigby and her 42-year-old boyfriend showed up at the drop-off point, they were met by police. Once again, clear proof that money does not make you smart.